Have you ever stopped to think for a moment why so many people are unhappy with the state of their lives? Or maybe you feel this way currently. I want to invite you to take a look at if you've been growing, if you've been actively pushing yourself to expand your consciousness, to step into new levels, to show up as a new, higher version of yourself, more aligned with your truest state, which is abundance. Because, see, the reason that a lot of people are so stuck in life or they feel like they can't move forward is because they're actually allowing themselves to be stagnant. And stagnancy causes suffering. So, a lot of people just view life as hard, difficult, boring, the same thing day in and day out, like Groundhog Day. But it's not intended to be like that. It's only like that when we are holding ourselves back from leveling up. And the reason people do this is because leveling up is not easy. It requires us to change our habits. It requires us to operate from a new state of consciousness. It requires us to allow ourselves to expand and to understand that maybe we don't know everything, and that's okay. Maybe we can step into the unknown and trust our magic as divinely creative beings, that everything will work out for us. But a lot of people don't want to shift. They don't want to shift out of the stagnancy. The stagnancy is comfortable. They're comfortable in their complacency. So I invite you today to look at where you've been being stagnant. What areas of your life are you suffering in? What areas of your life have been highlighted to you by your higher self? Like, hey, it's time. It's time to leave this relationship. It's time to leave this job. It's time to leave the country. I'm going to share a little piece of my story with you guys today because I was actually stuck in this myself. I was not shifting out of this timeline, out of this version of me, and stepping into my role as a creator. So, a few years ago, well, for many, many years in my 20s, basically almost my entire 20s, I was actually an exotic dancer and even sex worker for part of that time. And that work is so lucrative because you make your own schedule. If you don't want to work, you don't have to work. You make your own rates. You make good money. Like, yes, you have to tip out people at the club when you work at a club and stuff. But all in all, generally, you make pretty good money when you break it down hourly. And so it's really hard to get out of. So I had tried a few times. I was in my late 20s at this point, and I felt that I was being pushed out. Spirit was like, hey, it's time for you to leave this. There's more out there for you. You're intended to do more, be more, see more. And I just kept slipping back into it. I just kept going back to it and back to it. So finally, my environment and my body had to become so loud that it forced me out of it. And the way it did that, was through the chronic health conditions that I was diagnosed with. My body started to change in ways I couldn't understand. Like I was a gym rat. I loved going to the gym. I loved lifting weights. And I started having all of this weird fluid retention in my abdomen. And I was like, what the fuck is going on? Like, I lift weights. I'm super active. Like, I don't know what's going on with my body. So one night after a night of drinking, the next day I was also having abdominal pain that went along with it. And I was like, all right, I got to go get this checked out because I don't know what's going on. And it's starting to become concerning. So I went to the emergency room because I didn't have health insurance at the time and I was living in the States. So I went to the emergency room so that I would be able to get the scans that I needed of my abdomen because I knew I needed to have a CT scan and blood work and stuff. So I went there and they informed me that, yeah, your liver function is not good. You're going to need to see some specialists and you're going to need to start making some lifestyle changes. So over the next year and a half, I went through numerous specialists, ended up being also diagnosed I was the one who figured this out, which is mind-blowing and insane to me. This is why you should always advocate for yourself, by the way. Anytime you're dealing with anything in the medical field, especially in America specifically, always make sure you're advocating for the way that you feel, for what you notice on blood work tests, for the tests that you want to have done, because doctors do not know everything and they also miss things. So I was having all these crazy symptoms on top of like the stuff that was going on with my liver. Like my mouth was always dry. Like I just could not get enough water. Like I was just like insatiable. I was having the most debilitating leg cramps at night. I was having to pee like every 10, 15 minutes. I was so fatigued, like just exhausted all the time. So then I noticed, and I had had numerous blood tests done at this point. I had already seen about, I think I was on the third specialist. So they definitely should have caught this before they did. But I noticed my blood, like on the blood test, it said that my blood glucose level was 495. And so I looked it up online because I didn't know anything about any of that at this point. And that is extreme hyperglycemia. So I brought it to the oncologist's attention. And I was like, hey, on this last blood test that y'all did, I noticed that my glucose level was 495. Like, what's that about? And he was like, really? And he like pulled up the test. He's like, oh, well, I guess you're diabetic as well. So I had been having all of these crazy symptoms from super elevated blood sugar, unregulated blood sugar, due to my liver failure. So it gave me like severe metabolic disorder that required me to now have to take insulin, 2 types of insulin, one every time before I eat and then one once a day. And then also be on diuretics to keep the fluid out of my abdomen. But as I was going through all of this, I'm sharing this with you because I wasn't able to dance anymore. My body didn't look the same. So I was forced out of that situation. I was forced out of that job, that field, and forced to start shifting into more of what was available for me. And guess what? My health issues have been the biggest blessing in disguise. They have absolutely catalyzed me into the life of my dreams, where now I'm living overseas. I internationally house and pet sit for people while they're away in exchange for accommodation. I have no bills other than food expenses and like when I'm traveling location to location. Like I don't have a car, I don't have a phone bill, none of that. I've literally now been able to start creating more of what I've always wanted to experience, but I was being stagnant. I was allowing myself to stay in that timeline that was not serving me anymore because it was just so lucrative. And I refuse to work for anyone else. Like I will never, ever work for anyone else other than like odd jobs or stuff like that. If people want me to do paint jobs for them. But as far as like a 9-to-5 or corporate job, it is not in alignment with my soul. So that was another reason that I was like having such a hard time shifting out of that. And now Spirit was like when I got the intuitive hit to leave America, I was like, okay, what am I going to do for work? And the universe was like, jump, we'll catch you. You'll find your way. You always find your way. And so I started making content. Obviously, I don't get monetized for any of this, at least not yet anyway. That would be amazing one day if it happens, but that's not the reason that I made this YouTube channel. I'm making this YouTube channel to share these codes of alchemy and transmutation with all of you beautiful souls that have found me here. Because I carry codes that you entrusted me with to help you along this journey of your awakening, to help you get out of your stagnancy wherever you have been refusing to shift. So, all that being said, once again, I was not ready. Like I was ready to leave America, but like financially, I was not ready. I wanted to have at least $2,000 in my pocket when I left. And I was planning on leaving in November of 2024. And as the months progressed, it was, I think, about June. No, it was like in May. Yeah, April or May. And this was about 2 or 3 months after the universe was like, you need to go to Egypt on a one-way ticket out to the out of the US, go to Egypt, and that's all you need to know right now. And I was like, okay. So I started planning for it, and I was driving Uber Eats at this point, using my incredible partner's car at the time. So much love to him. Most beautiful healing relationship I've ever been blessed with in my entire life. Life path split us a different way, but all love between us. Anyways, driving Uber Eats, trying to save as much money as I could. Still dealing with the health stuff and learning to navigate that path. And then in about, April or May of 2024, I kept getting signs that it was actually, I wasn't supposed to leave in November. I was supposed to leave in August. And I was like, well, fuck, that leaves me even less time to save up money. So when I did leave in August, in early August, I had less than $900 to my name. I had a one-way ticket to Egypt. Didn't know about trusted house sitters at this point, which is what I use to now internationally travel and stay in places for free in exchange for taking care of people's pets and homes. Didn't know that existed. I'm on my way to Egypt, and I'm like, holy shit. We're just about to see where this grand adventure takes us, I guess. And I went through some difficult times in Egypt. I won't lie. I actually ended up in the hospital in Qatar before getting to Egypt. I was hospitalized there for a couple days, and then I got to Egypt. Was in Egypt for, I think, just under 2 weeks. And then I was like, all right, universe, my money was going down, obviously. I was like, okay, what am I supposed to do now? I don't want to stay here in Egypt. So I put out the universal request. I tapped in to my higher self, and within an hour or two, it was literally the same afternoon, an ad popped up on my YouTube for trusted house sitters. And I was like, what is this? So I started researching it. I started watching videos of people discussing it. And I was like, all right. So I spent some of the money that I had remaining to sign up for the membership, to get the background check. And it was so crazy because people that on the videos that I was watching that were talking about it were like, don't be surprised if you don't secure a sit right away. It usually takes several months. And I was like, all right, universe, we're just going to trust that it's going to unfold in the way that it needs to. And was able to secure the first 4 sits of people that I talked to. So I had 2 months of stays just back to back to back booked for me perfectly in the UK. So I bought my ticket to the UK. When I arrived in the UK, I had $10 to my name after purchasing a $400 plane ticket and paying for that membership. But I was like, you know what? It's the universe will provide. It's taken me this far. I trusted my magic. I trusted my ability to create and co-create. And I was like, we're going to figure it out. We are resilient. We are resourceful. And now I've been on this path for almost a year, and the universe has absolutely provided. Even with all of the medication stuff that I need. And sometimes that being difficult to try to get in certain locations, the universe is always taking care of me. But it required me to go through some suffering to get me out of my stagnancy, to shift me into more of what was available for me. But a lot of people will never take the leap of faith. A lot of people just stay stagnant. Because believe me when I say it was not easy to leave behind the love of my life, knowing that my soul was calling me in a different direction. It was not easy not knowing more than really the next step right in front of me. But I chose to believe in my magic. I chose to trust the universe. And the universe has abundantly rewarded me. So I encourage you to take a look at where in life your higher self has been trying to gently nudge you. Hey, there's more available here for you. And where you've been denying yourself that, where you've been staying stagnant, and where you've been suffering as a result. because that only comes when we are in resistance to flowing with change. So I hope that this little piece of my story has inspired you to now start really going out and creating, co-creating with the universe, the life of your dreams. You're not intended to be stagnant. You're not intended to feel stuck. All of that is an illusion, and you can break it by taking inspired action. So if you found this video helpful, please like, share, subscribe to the channel if you're new. Would love to have you around, beautiful soul. Until next time, be the magic.